Good morning and welcome to the Ask Geeky Girl Show. My name is Angela Mondor and I'm also known as the Geeky Girl. I help stuck and stressed out entrepreneurs to have more fun on social media and in their business so they can attract their perfect clients. And today we're talking about branding and your website. What they have to do with each other, what comes first, sort of like a chicken and egg situation, right? As well as how those two, your branding and your website work together. So hello to those who have joined me already. Say good morning, hello, give me a thumbs up, let me know who you are. This is beautiful today, by the way. Love the sunshine. It will pass. I will sit back a bit in just a minute. I am going to now go over and share this out. Like I always say, it's important to share out your lives and make sure that you are sharing this to different groups and different places. Also, your personal profile is a good place to share your business page when you go live. So, important tips from the inside, always, right? I'm really excited to talk about this because I think it's really important. There's some misnomers that people don't really think about when they're thinking about their branding and their website. And hello, Scott. Nice to see you. Branding, one of my favorite marketing topics. Awesome. Well, you know, it'll be interesting to have a conversation back and forth. You can tell me what you think is important as we're moving through this as well. I've got some cool ideas for you guys and help you to understand how these things work with your website. Lynn has joined us as well, so that's fantastic. She'll be able to keep us on track when it comes to our website. Okay, perfect. I'm done sharing that out. Good morning. Nice to have you here. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk to you about is, in fact, your brand. Now, your website, it is important that you put a lot of thought into your branding. And I always tell people it's important you get your brand sorted out first before you build your website. There's too many people out there who go ahead and build a website and then change their branding, or then they create branding after, and then they got to redo their entire website. So some people think, oh, well, I have a logo, so I got branding. So if that's you, I'd like to tell you that unfortunately, your logo isn't actually your brand. The logo is just a portion thereof your brand. You think of it as the Coles Notes version of what your brand is. It's going to give you an overall, you're going to use the right colors, maybe it's the font, you know, that kind of thing, but it's just sort of like this little snippet piece of your brand. Your brand is so much more. Now, you know, there's what we call branding standards, so we're going to get into that. And so your logo will come out of your branding standards. Now, some people might say, okay, but I already have a logo, so now what do I do? If that's not my brand, but I have a logo, then what do I do? Now, you can build around a logo. So if you started with a logo, let's say it's got your colors that you want, let's say the font is good, you like what the font looks like, you've got a, you know, the overall look and feel of your logo is good and you like that. You can move forward and build branding standards out of your logo. It's sort of going, you know, you're sort of going around the chicken rather than actually going through the process correctly. However, you can still use your logo to build your brand around it. Okay, if you don't have a logo, then you get to start building your brand first, and then you get to create the logo out of your brand standards. But you can start with a logo and build a brand around it. But just don't mistake the fact that your logo is not your brand. It's just a piece thereof, okay? Now, your brand, what is it? What makes up your brand? That's a question that people ask. Well, what if my logo isn't my brand, then what is my brand? And your brand is made up of several different elements. The number one element is your values and purpose. Values and purpose are really important. You want people to understand what is it that your company values? What is the purpose of your company being part of the planet? Why are you in business? Those are pieces of your brand and the overall brand message. The personality of the company or the personality of the business owner, depending on whether you are a small business or medium or a large business, that'll depend on how you work that personality. For example, Coke, well, they have a personality. I mean, you just say their name and you just know, right? But they have a personality. Even though it's not a person, they have a personality. And so you want to bring that out. Now, if you are a solopreneur, then it will be your personality. I mean, I am the face of my brand, right? Annette is here as well. Hello, nice to have you. If you guys want to just give me a thumbs up, say hello. If you like what you're hearing, please share this out so that everybody else could learn more about branding and how branding works with their website. That would be awesome. Now, the other piece to your brand is your overall look and feel and the experience that people have with your business and your products. That's the other piece of branding. Now, each of those pieces get broken out, and we'll go through them. But that's sort of like your top 3 ways of looking at a brand: the values, the purpose, your personality of the company, and then that overall look and feeling and experience that you have. So you don't have to go to the Bricks website to get their overall values and personality of the company, the look and feel and the experience. You could walk into their store and get that as well. And their online presence should be matching their website presence as well. Hello, Paula. Nice to have you here. Thank you very much for saying good morning. Now, so how do you brand your website? Your website will be and is the most amazing place for you to be able to showcase your brand. So if you're looking at the values and purpose of your company, this will help you decide what you need to offer your clients when they visit your site. What kind of experience do you want them to have? What features do you need to have on your website to support them? And that'll shape their experience. And when you're writing your About Me or your About Us page, now we talked about this a couple days ago, but when you're writing that page, it'll allow you to be able to showcase what makes you different and how you can stand out from your competition. What is it that makes you different or special? Your values and your purpose come into that space, and then you can write that in there. Now, you don't have to have values and purpose written out as these are the values of the company and that sort of thing. It can be interwoven into what you say throughout your About Us or About Me page, as well as through everything else that you provide for services and features. Now, the personality of your brand, this is where your website gets to shine a little bit, because you're going to be showing your personality of your brand, and it's conveyed through the colors that you use, the font that you use, the voice that you write in, and that's the overall look and feel of your website. Some people don't even put a lot of thought into the font, but the font is actually going to give a visual representation of what you're trying to convey in feelings to the people who are visiting your website. So put some thought into that. So it's not just the colors, it's not just your logo. The font is important too, and also you want to think about the images that you're using in your on your website. Each image conveys a feeling and an emotion, a thought. It's true what they say, images are worth 1,000 words. When somebody looks at an image, they're going to have a specific feel about that image or specific thought about what that image conveys. So throughout your entire website, whether it's a blog post or whether it is pages on your website, you should be using images. Everything should have images. So if you don't, then put some images in. However, the images are going to convey a message. It's a silent message, but you want it to be on-brand message. So you want to be able to look at those images and say, yes, that fits my brand message, that fits my overall purpose and values, the thoughts, the emotions, what I want to convey. So think about the images that you use as well. Now, when you're thinking about your overall color theme, some people they're like, oh yeah, I use blue, or I use yellow or red or whatever. And that's all fine and good. That could be your core color. But what I want you to do is I really want you to think about, and if you have a good web designer, they will help you. I usually say that you should have, you need to make sure your color palette works really well together. You can't have colors that kind of clash with each other, because it's not going to look good, and the psychology of it isn't going to work well either. So you want to make sure that these colors that you choose work well together. I typically say you need 3 colors over and above your black and white. Black and white are standard. They're not even colors in your brand, they just are. So pick 3 that work really well together, that your web designer can use throughout, and your web designer will probably help you choose those if you haven't used a brand strategist to put this together for you. Okay, and you can use up to 5 colors, not including your black and white. So 3 or 5 colors plus your black and white, and these colors will be the brand colors that you use everywhere. And so this is going to tie the overall look and feel together. Okay, so that the colors are really important. Now, the voice. How do you talk to your audience? This is important as well, and not a lot of people put a lot of thought to it. They might just be creating content, but they're not thinking about what voice they use. And there's different kinds of voices that you can use on your website throughout your copy. Some of those types of voices, maybe you have a positive voice, a professional voice, maybe it's cynical, maybe it's corporate. You know, there's different ways to describe the type of voice that you're using. Fun is a way, right? You can I have a fun way of talking to people, those sorts of things. You want to put those thoughts. What does that voice sound like? Are you lively? That kind of thing. And you want to use that everywhere. So you want to use it in all of your pages, all of your blog posts, everywhere that you're using that information. That's all a part of your overall brand. And you're going to use that throughout your entire website. So when you're using your branding, remember, your brand's not just your logo. Your brand is so much more. It's the overall personality, the reason why your company exists in the first place. All of that information then gets brought together in your website, and what a better way to do it. You know, somebody asked us yesterday, can I not use a website? I'll just use my Facebook page, and then I'll just use landing pages. But without a website, you're missing out on the ability to share this overall branding message, this overall thought and purpose of your business with people as they, you know, so it's a one-time thing. Scott says, I often think of branding as the personality of the business at its core. Totally. What is it that they stand for? What is it that the business stands for? You know, and you know, you can think about this. There's so many different ways to do it, but your website is the easiest way for you to control what people think about your brand. At the end of the day, you get 100% control over what's happening there. So here's a question. How do you make your brand memorable? Right? I mean, we want people to remember us, and part of remembering us is remembering our brand. Consistency. Consistency makes our brand memorable. Wherever you show up, whether you're showing up online, through social media, through your website, whether it's offline, when you show up in person, or your business cards, anything else, wherever you're showing up as your company and your business, you want that brand standard to follow you, to come with you. It's like bringing a friend along with you at all times. You know, if you're hiring people, even if you're working in a company, you built this company where now you have to hire people or sales reps or something to work with you in your business, you want them to also be able to bring your brand standards to the forefront and bring them through. Think about a company that is a franchise. Their brand message is strong, right? They have to use this product, they have to use that product, they have to speak this way. That's all brand standard stuff. So when it's done correctly, and when you show up consistently, people will begin to recognize your company and associate your branding with your company. And when it's done right, your potential customers will see your logo or an update on social media, and they'll connect your company to that update. They'll see it, they'll go, oh, I know who that is. And then the way that they feel when they see it will help them associate with your brand message. That's the power of branding, and that is the power of putting that all together on your website. When they show up on your website, they will feel good. You put a social media post together, they're going to feel a certain way about that post. When they click on it and they go to your website, if they have that same feeling when they go from your branded social media platform to your branded website, they're going to feel comfortable. And along with that comfort is that there's a trust that's built. It's a psychological trust between, I saw something here, I really liked it, I went over here, I'm seeing the same thing, I have a level of trust with you. Okay? So it's a psychological build of trust. Use the psychological trust in your advantage by making sure that your overall brand standards are the same. So now take a moment to think about this from your perspective, because there's a lot of brands that you interact with. Maybe you think about Nike or Mercedes, Lululemon, Wendy's, Dairy Queen. Each of those brands make it their business to invoke specific feelings and emotions when you connect and think about their brand. Each of us had our own. We each felt differently. Maybe you like Nike, maybe you don't. Maybe you like Lululemon, and maybe you don't. But each of these brands have put together an overall brand message and package, and they are conveying it out because they're attracting their perfect clients. And part of attracting their perfect clients is that the people who resonate well with their brand message will be attracted to them. Those who don't aren't going to be attracted to them. And that's what a fantastic brand message is all about. Doing that on your website is going to build that trust. So when they find you, no matter where they find you, whether they find you in person or they find you online somewhere, you're building trust when they show up on your website and they see all of those things. So remember, your brand message comes first before you build your website. But your brand message on your website will help you build trust with your audience. And you want to look at your overall values. You want to look at your personality of the business and your overall voice message, the colors, how you show up, be consistent. What is my overall look and feel that I'm going to be presenting to my clients when they show up on my website? I hope you guys got lots from this, took a few notes, and if you have any questions, let me know. Please let me know by just leaving me a note down below. That'd be awesome. For small business, the brand is often tied closely to the personality of the entrepreneurs. So totally true, Scott. Yes, if you are a solopreneur or small business, definitely the business owner has a lot to contribute to the overall brand message. However, you want to think about a large company, think of Apple. That brand message, it still came from Steve Jobs, and that overall brand message is still today in play, even though he is no longer on the planet. So even though it is a huge organization, it still comes from the personality that was originally started with Steve Jobs. So it's interesting to look at. I love looking at the inner workings of a brand, the different pieces of what makes up the overall business, and it's really, really cool when you can track it back. In fact, I was just buying insurance, right? I had to go pay for my driver's license the other day, and on their wall was their values and purpose, basically, on their wall, and I was reading it, and I thought, you know what? This is written based on the owner. Like, the owner wanted these things to be important to their overall business, and I know they have a very large company, so it has spread throughout now. So that is a really cool way of looking at a brand. Lynn says, and if you don't have a brand package when you come to me, I'll force you to build a visual brand for you, and it'll cost you more. Lynn's very good at helping entrepreneurs to come up with that brand message and to build this before they build the website. So she's right. If you don't have one, you will by the time you're done working with her, because it's important to have. So think about those sorts of things. What is your overall message? What is your brand? Not just what is your logo, but what is that overall brand, the look and the feel, what do you want to convey, and how do you want to help your audience? Thank you guys so much for being here today. I really appreciate all of you, and I will be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, and let me just check. We are going to be talking about pages, posts, and plugins on WordPress. So if you want to know more about WordPress and you're not sure, or maybe you have a WordPress website and you don't know the difference between pages and posts, or what is a plugin, that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow, and I hope to see you again. So thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Central. Talk to you later. Bye now.